A live look at the White House, where President Trump is set to meet with the United States ambassador to the European Union. That is scheduled for 4 o'clock this afternoon. So we, of course, will be monitoring that meeting for you throughout the day here. And then, of course, if there's a live media availability, we'll bring that to you live here on Real America's Voice. In the meantime, we're getting you ready for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. Here is pre-market trading. As you can see, the Dow is up, or it looks like it's flat right now, but it's not in the red. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are in the red. The rest of our board is in the green. Hopefully, by the end of trading today, everything will be in the green. And if you've invested, it will be a good and prosperous day for you. In the meantime, let's get you over to Emily Finn. She is in our West Palm studios with a special guest. Good morning, Emily.
Thank you so much, Terrence. Good morning. Now it's time for our daily dose of dollars and common sense with American Sunrise Early Edition host and the guy behind the Jake's Take Substack, Jake Novak, joins us now. Jake, you have some news for all of the tariff doomsayers out there, but this time it's got nothing to do with inflation or anything we're paying at the stores.
That's right. Look, a lot of people were upset with the big, beautiful bill, right? Remember, they were saying, oh, no, this is going to drive up deficits, and this is really, really bad. And then there were the independent, supposedly independent ratings agencies like Standard & Poor's. Their job is to tell you whether a company or a country can pay its bills. And there were all kinds of threats from them saying, hey, look, if you pass this bill, we're going to lower America's credit rating. Well, S&P said they're not going to do that. And why? Because they say the tariff revenues, the money coming in from those tariffs, is absolutely reducing the deficit. And so they're no longer worried as much about the effect of the big spending bill, which, of course, will be drawing on deficits, will be increasing them in the short term. And in the long term, they were supposed to close them. But really, it looks like that pain is going to be abbreviated thanks to the tariffs. So, hey, if you're Rand Paul, if you're Elon Musk, if you're Thomas Massey, come back into the tent, guys. You need to admit that you were wrong about this, that the tariffs are making up for it, because Standard & Poor's, which is much more serious about debt than you guys are, says this is going to be okay.
Okay, Jake, so yesterday on the show, it was Home Depot's big report card day, and today it's Target. So how did the Red Dot store chain do? Walk us through this.
Well, they beat the lowered expectations for profits and sales for that 3-month period between April and June. But the stock is getting punched in the face right now this morning because Target also said that they are indeed going to have their CEO, Brian Cornell, step down. Now, that was expected. But the person they're replacing him with is the current chief operating officer, Michael Fidelki. He's going to take over in February of next year. Investors don't like this. They wanted an outsider. They love the way that Brian Cornell ran the company for most of his 11 years at the helm. But for those of you watching, you know about that woke turn that Target took in recent years, and that kind of diminished his reputation a little bit. Although, again, the shares of Target are up 84% in the 11 years he ran it, but they don't like where he went the last few years. Investors wanted a new face. They're not getting it. They're getting his number 2, basically. And so the stock is down 11% in the pre-market. That is a big step down for Target, and it's because they wanted to see something new there, and they're not getting it.
It seems like a go woke, go broke kind of situation. Do you anticipate quickly here, Jake, that Target is going to double down on their woke company policies, I suppose?
No, I don't think so. But on the other hand, I also don't think they're going to push back on it and really change course and say, hey, we're sorry we did this. Because, again, they're getting someone who was involved in that decision. This guy's the chief operating officer now. So it's not like he's going to say, hey, I screwed up all those years ago. I doubt it. If he does, more power to him. But no, I don't think they're going to change course. They should, but they won't. And meanwhile, they're getting their clocks cleaned by Walmart and some other discounters right now.
Well, if history means anything, it looks like their stock price is not going to like that. Now, finally, Jake, I do want to move on to this. Real estate, where there's a definite new demand center for housing in America for a specific group. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've known this for a while, just for people who understand demographics, but we're really starting to see now in the real estate market, the number one demand center is for nice, dressed down, downsized places for baby boomers to move into. In other words, they don't want to be in their big house anymore, but they need to have a nice place to move to, and there's just still not enough supply in America. People have been talking about this for a long time, but we are now seeing major investment dollars from private equity going into the construction of I mean, I wouldn't say retirement villages. I think that that's one of the reasons why people don't like it. They don't want to say I'm moving to a retirement village, but they do want to see nice condos, nice apartments, or even smaller starter-like homes, but for older folks, because that is where the demand is in the market right now. And if you're an investor, maybe you want to talk to your investment advisor about which companies are set to make money off of this construction boom, because this is where the demand is right now.
Well, Jake Novak, always appreciate your insight into dollars and common sense. I will see you tomorrow on American Sunrise Early Edition.
Have a profitable day, everybody.
Sounds great. All right, let's head back to Terrence in Denver for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
We are counting down towards the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. Here's a look at the board in pre-market trading. As you can see, the Dow is the one, well, it's one of the bright spots, at least. It's the only bright spot when it comes to the markets. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ are both in the red at the moment. That could all change here within the next couple of minutes when the markets officially open up. Of course, we're waiting for the opening bell, and we'll show you that the moment it happens. VIX, as you can see, gold and oil are all in the green. Silver is also up, I believe, at the moment. So if those are things that you've invested in, those precious metals and some of the other things, then you should be off to a good start. Hopefully, there will be a change on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ as the opening bell rings and we get an idea of what the markets are looking like. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That would be the Washington Commanders logo there, along with Big Bear AI. The applause is underway, which means the bell is going to ring here momentarily, and then we'll get a better idea of how the markets are looking as they open up. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The markets are now officially open, and just like that, not much change. The Dow remaining in the green. It's the only bright spot as it relates to the indices. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ still in the red at the moment. The rest of our board looking good, though. Again, hopefully it will ultimately be a prosperous day of trading for those of you who are going to be going in and out of the markets throughout the day. Here's a question for you. Is the continued divide between Trump and the Federal Reserve putting us behind the curve yet again? Can the Fed take the right action at the right time, or are we going to be looking at a potential economic slowdown? And what does that ultimately mean for your savings? Well, you may want to consider diversifying with gold through the Birch Gold Group. For decades, gold has been viewed as a safe haven in times of economic stagnation, global uncertainty, and high inflation. The Birch Gold Group makes it incredibly easy for you to diversify some of your savings into gold, though. If you have an IRA or an old 401k, you can convert that into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or you can just buy some gold to keep in your safe. First, though, you'll want to get educated. The Birch Gold Group will send you a free information kit on gold. All you have to do is text the word America to the number 989898. Again, that's America to the number 989898. Consider diversifying a portion of your savings into gold. That way, if the Fed can't stay ahead of the curve for the country, at least you can stay ahead for yourself. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a mechanic, a missing wallet, and one of the most unbelievable lost and found stories you'll ever hear. You'll have to stick around as American Sunrise continues.